The secret Gregory Peck never buried. Hollywood wrapped Gregory Peck in a shining suit of moral armor. He was the granite jaw that reassured a nation in chaos, the velvet voice that soothed courtroom dramas, and the square-shouldered hero who always seemed to know right from wrong. Yet in the hush of his last years, he cracked that heroic shell with 9 electrifying words. Ingrid was the love of my life. No splashy press release, no red carpet revelation, just a hushed confession that detonated the legend he'd taken 6 decades to build. How did America's cinematic conscience fall for a forbidden wartime romance? Why did government spies jot his name alongside radicals? And what personal tragedies left scars even an Oscar couldn't hide? Stay close, because we're peeling back studio varnish to expose the passions, plots, and heartbreak that still echo from Peck's silent confession. One attic letter, one dusty reel, might rewrite everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's clean-cut night. Origins of Integrity. April 5, 1916. Pacific waves thrash the coves of La Jolla as Eldred Gregory Peck greets the world. His Irish Catholic parents fracture when he's 6, forcing young Greg to bounce between boarding schools and his indomitable grandmother, Catherine, whose nightly mantra, "Do the brave thing, even if it's hard," etches itself deep. At San Diego State, the lanky freshman hauls boats for the varsity crew and sketches anatomical diagrams for pre-med labs until fate intervenes. A campus director spots Peck's 6'3" silhouette and begs him to replace an ill actor in Moby Dick. The auditorium's roar detonates something primal. Textbooks go idle, grease paint becomes gospel. Transferring to UC Berkeley, he juggles pre-med by day and Eugene O'Neill monologues by night, earning the campus nickname Doc Drama. Professors warn he's torching a stable career, but classmate Brenda Marshall later recalls, "Greg spoke about stage lights the way surgeons talk about saving lives." Great Depression be damned, Peck hitchhikes east, scrubbing ship decks for passage, then sleeping on YMCA floors while auditioning. Broadway embraces his quiet thunder in Morning Star, 1942. Casting agents whispered that Peck's greatest asset isn't looks, it's an almost spiritual sincerity. And audiences crave it. With Bays of Glory, 1944, he vaults to Hollywood, where executives pencil transfers moral gravity on camera in studio memos. Yet underneath the polished image lies a young man about to collide with a Swedish superstar beneath Hitchcock's blazing lights. Spellbound Secrets. Spring 1945. Selznick Studios. The air reeks of hot arc lamps and Dali's surreal backdrops. Peck, sweating beneath a velvet tuxedo, shares a scene with Ingrid Bergman, world famous for Casablanca, yet apparently oblivious to her own glow. Between takes, they trade psychology books, debate Freud, whisper in Swedish-accented English and California drawl. Gaffers notice they disappear to an off-limits sound booth at lunch, re-emerging flushed. Legend says Hitchcock, ever the puppet master, fed the spark by isolating them in dark corridors during camera tests. A love affair ignites, short-lived, intense, destined for secrecy. Crew gossip fizzles once filming wraps, but 42 years later, a silver-haired Peck whispers to people, "I had a real love for her, and that's where I ought to stop." The world takes that as a confession, yet still wonders how far it truly went. Fuel pours on the rumor fire in 2024 when a Guardian piece reveals Dali's lost spellbound storyboards surfacing at a London car boot sale. Scribbled margins reference IB and GP letters in Safe 3. Hollywood sleuths go feral. Could love notes still sleep inside a studio vault, waiting to annihilate decades of PR? And that smolder would soon set Peck's domestic life ablaze. Mansions, marriages, and mayhem. In 1942, before the Oscars and gossip rags, Peck marries Finnish-American Greta Kukkonen, a poised theater usher who supported him when ramen counted as luxury. Their Westwood bungalow buzzes with 3 sons, Jonathan, Stephen, Carrie Paul, while Greta runs charity galas for refugees. Hollywood press tout them as unshakable, yet tension lurks. Long shoots in Italy for Roman holiday, late-night calls from publicists, and a certain Swedish shadow strain their vows. By December 30th, 1955, the couple signs divorce papers amid champagne flutes of polite regret. Shockingly, 24 hours later, Peck marries Véronique Pisani, French arts journalist, Sorbonne graduate, and charm incarnate inside Santa Maria della Pace Chapel. Cynics scream rebound, but their union endures 48 years, weathering career lulls and international moves. Still, Veronique's confidants whisper she sensed a phantom in their bed, a Stockholm ghost named Ingrid. Even so, she channels any jealousy into action, co-founding the Gregory Peck Children's Cancer Fund and wrangling her husband to visit pediatric wards between shoots. Their Rome villa soon doubles as HQ for benefit soirees that net millions. Peck once quipped, "Veronique makes charity feel like a command performance." Yet even philanthropy can't muffle the political thunder gathering over Hollywood's most righteous leading man. Activist in the crosshairs. October 1947. While many actors scramble to distance themselves from politics, Peck marches into a packed auditorium and signs the Committee for the First Amendment petition slamming HUAC's witch hunts. Studio execs worry, radio pundits sneer. Peck doubles down, declaring on live mic, "Fear corrodes the soul of a nation." Fast forward to 1969. Peck narrates anti-Vietnam ads for the moratorium movement, then accepts LBJ's Presidential Medal of Freedom, irony not lost on viewers who hear him criticize that same administration's war policy weeks later. On university stages, he implores draft-age students to vote not by rage, but by resolve. Behind the curtain, federal agencies bustle. Declassified NSA documents, codenamed Minaret, list Peck on a 73,000-name watch ledger, flagging his calls for civil disturbance potential. Peck supposedly laughs it off, joking, "If they tap my line, at least they'll hear me recite Shakespeare between phone bills." Then comes 1987. Robert Bork's Supreme Court nomination polarizes America, and Peck lends his legendary baritone to a 60-second TV spot defending reproductive rights. White House spokesman Marlin Fitzwater blasts the ad as patently outrageous. Reagan quips, "Peck is miscast." Yet the backlash boomerangs. Networks replay the clip free, catapulting Peck's message into 30 million living rooms. He never loses roles over activism. His box office draw stays bulletproof, but a more devastating blow waits at home. A father's deepest pain. June 26, 1975. Los Angeles wakes to sun-bleached skies. Gregory Peck wakes to heartbreak. 29-year-old Jonathan, news correspondent, poet, pilot, has fatally harmed himself in New York. Peck's longtime aide describes a guttural cry, as if Atticus Finch had finally met a case he couldn't win. In interviews, he admits, "You don't heal from losing a child. You adapt, if that's the word." Grief pushes him toward mental health advocacy. Quietly, he funds suicide prevention hotlines and speaks at PTSD clinics under pseudonyms so headlines won't hijack the message. On set of The Omen, 1976, he requests a mental health nurse be stationed for crew, a Hollywood first. Castmates recall Peck pausing between takes, staring into middle distance, then returning with intensified focus, as though every scene were a tribute to Jonathan's memory. Each June going forward, He and Veronique host a candlelighting dinner overlooking the Pacific, reading Jonathan's childhood jokes aloud. Guests say Peck's proudest award became a worn Polaroid of Jonathan in a cardboard pirate hat taped inside his wallet. A record of courage on screen. Even as personal wounds throb, Peck's filmography roars. He dangles from Greek cliffs in The Guns of Navarone, stares down Robert Mitchum's snarling Max Cady in Cape Fear, a duel so intense Mitchum bruises Peck's back with improvised punches. Crew hush as Peck mutters, "Leave it in. Fear's supposed to hurt." Off-camera, he serves as president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, 1967–70, modernizing voting rules and championing foreign-language films. He co-founds La Jolla Playhouse, funneling Hollywood clout into live theater that nurtures talents like Neil Patrick Harris and Billy Crudup. In boardrooms, he's nicknamed the Velvet Gavel, firm but never cruel. When To Kill a Mockingbird circulates to high school curricula, Peck accepts zero appearance fee for educational screenings. He personally mails signed stills to classrooms, scrawling, "Stand up for what's right, even when you stand alone." Teachers pin them beside the alphabet. The 87-Year Confession. Autumn 2002. PBS's Robert Osborne cues a softball. Which role most shaped you? Yet Peck drifts to something raw. Eyes mist, jaw trembles, and he breathes, "Ingrid was the love of my life. Time never erased her." The studio falls silent. Osborne cuts to pledge drive. Peck's publicist later insists fatigue made him ramble, but the genie's out. Entertainment shows loop the clip, blogs crash under speculation. Swedish tabloids resurrect Bergman's private diaries, sealed until 2030, and hint they mention a tall American who smelled of cedar. Sotheby's dangles the possibility of auctioning a locket found among Bergman's effects, initials GP engraved inside. Peck's simple confession morphs into a gold rush for scraps of a romance lost to studio hush-hush. Even Veronique, asked on record, simply smiles. A heart is large. It can hold more than one forever. In that single line, she cements her own legend of grace. Legacy rekindled. Flash forward. Streaming giants remix Gregory Peck clips for TikTok. One side by side of Peck's closing argument as Atticus and Ethan's Vulcan logic in Star Trek Strange New Worlds racks up 9 million views overnight. Young fans flood comment sections with surprised heart emojis. Didn't know Spock's granddad was a straight-up icon. Meanwhile, the Gregory Peck Award for Cinematic Humanity debuts at Rome Film Fest, honoring directors tackling injustice. Winners thank Greg, the way civil rights activists once thanked Dr. King. Veronique, now 90, attends via hologram, quipping, "Greg would remind you a film can change a law, or at least soften a heart." Collectors duel at auction over Peck's annotated Mockingbird script, sold for $191,000, as rumors swirl that a private Swiss vault hides the fabled Ingrid Bergman letters. A docuseries titled Guilty of Love, The Peck-Bergman Files, is greenlit, promising AI reconstructions of the lost correspondence if it never surfaces. The myth, just like Atticus's wisdom, refuses to rest.
The curtain never truly falls. Gregory Peck spent 6 decades convincing moviegoers that quiet courage could pierce darkness. Yet his final whisper, one stolen wartime romance, one unhealed family wound, one fearless stand against witch hunts, reveals a man every bit as fragile as the society he tried to better. Heroes, it seems, aren't forged in perfection, but in how bravely they shoulder their contradictions. So, here's my challenge to you. If tomorrow a single Bergman Peck letter slips from an attic box, will it tarnish Hollywood's night or simply humanize him? Drop your theory below, hit subscribe, and ring that bell, because somewhere in a studio vault or dusty London market, the next page of this love story is already waiting to be read aloud. Until then, remember Gregory's grandmother's mantra: do the brave thing even if it's hard. That creed lit every frame he ever graced, and maybe, just maybe, it can light ours too.